Welcome back to part 4 of Jesus' Sermon on the Mount, as recorded in the Gospel of Matthew. If you joined us last week, you may recall that Jesus had some strong words for those who get angry at others, betray promises, and commit adultery. He has not lightened up since we last met. You have heard it said, an eye for an eye. But I say to you, turn the other cheek. And you have heard it said, you must love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who harass you. Is this a setup? More hyperbole? Does Jesus really mean that we're supposed to relinquish all violence and embrace the people who would do us or our neighbors harm? Doesn't Jesus know that these are impossible commands, and besides that, they are unreasonable? What about war, terrorism, domestic violence? What about the bullies who have no interest in making nice? The ones who will happily take your coat and your shirt and your shoes besides? Is Jesus saying that in order to be a good Christian, women and men who are beaten by their partners ought to turn the other cheek? Tragically, the texts have indeed been read that way and lives destroyed as a result. And I am certain that Jesus would be outraged to hear these verses being invoked to further subjugate the victims of violence. There's something else going on here. Something that deserves our attention again. In a culture rife with violence, in which hate speech and hateful acts are on the rise, where divisions feel increasingly pronounced, blue state from red state, urban from rural, rich from poor, Muslim from Christian, Fox News from NPR, from name your favorite blogger. In this world, rent at the seams by armed conflicts, internal and cross-border, Jesus' words feel both well-timed and uncomfortably pointed. The question may well be, which are the enemies to whom Jesus referred? Are they the individuals who harass us? The groups whose political view or worldview offend us? The movements that threaten our way of life? Or the countries whom we regard as our adversaries? On the one hand, our enemies are the people who threaten our well-being, who dismiss and degrade us. They are the ones who make us feel less than whole. If you've ever felt undermined, your dignity denied, your physical safety threatened, you may feel as though you have had an enemy. Some of you have actually been in war zones, where you have come face to face with people, whole communities, who have been declared the enemy of our United States. You have suffered the horrors of war, witnessed firsthand the inhuman ways that humans can behave. But here's the other side of that coin. Our enemies are also those whom we discount. The people or the groups outside our circle of concern. Chris Hedges was a New York Times foreign correspondent for nearly 2 decades, reporting in war zones from Central America to the Gaza Strip to Sudan. In his powerful book, War is a Force That Gives Us Meaning, he says that our enemies are the ones who don't count into our human calculus. Our dead matter. Theirs do not. In order to justify acts of violence, We strip our enemies of any human qualities. We turn them into two-dimensional objects of scorn, a threat to national security, an abomination, a target, collateral damage, but never people with their own story to tell. This is called othering. And we do it, not only on the global stage, but in our daily lives. We do it every time we name call, use derogatory labels, bleeding heart liberal, hard-nosed conservative, ignorant, stubborn, stupid. On a recent radio talk show, a caller addressed the show's host and his guests as "you people." "You people got it wrong," he said. And when the host asked him what he meant by "you people," the caller responded, "You people in the media. And I think I can say that because that's who you are and that's who I'm not." Othering is the way we classify people as not one of us. Rather than remembering that we are all complex bundles of emotions, ideas, motivations, reflexes, priorities, we reduce those outside our circle to something less than human, less worthy of dignity and of respect. One of the most insightful comments I've read about racism comes from Atlantic Magazine contributor Ta-Nehisi Coates, who once tweeted that racism is less about who you hate and more about whom you give the benefit of the doubt. Who are we most likely to believe? Whose actions are we most likely to justify or excuse? Who, on the other hand, will we condemn without a second thought? This, I believe, is the hard truth at the heart of Jesus' command. That we repeatedly, routinely dehumanize one another. That God would have us acknowledge that even those most foreign, most hostile to us, are fully human and worthy of dignity. Some interpreters of that Sermon on the Mount suggest that Jesus' call to turn the other cheek is one prescription for rehumanizing a dehumanizing interaction. So typically, a soldier would strike a Jew across the face using the back of his hand, forcing the one who is struck to turn away. But if the Jewish man turned his cheek, the soldier would have to strike with the palm of his hand, meaning that the two adversaries could be looking into each other's eyes. During the Civil Rights Movement, protesters were trained in this kind of nonviolent tactic. To practice nonviolence means more than being passive in the face of an assault, they were told. It means holding on to your own dignity while also preserving the dignity of your assailant. And so protesters were taught to look their adversary in the eye, even while they were being beaten. I see you. Not just the anger and the outrage, but you, the person behind the baton. I see you, and I believe that you are a child of God as I am a child of God. It is a powerful thing, that seeing and being seen. The sculpture pictured on the front of today's bulletin commemorates that December morning in 1914, in the middle of World War I, when British and German troops temporarily left their foxholes and played soccer together in the field in between. The next time you're on YouTube, do a search on Christmas like to begin to rehumanize one's enemy, than to create a space for perpetrators and victims to tell their stories, confess their crimes, appeal for and offer forgiveness. If that Christmas Day soccer match serves to remind us that though we speak different languages and have different national allegiances, we all laugh and play and miss the people we love, then South Africa's Truth and Reconciliation process reminds us that we and our enemies, have hearts that can break, lives that can be traumatized, and spirits that can be healed. I think that's what Jesus meant by loving one's enemies. I don't think he was talking about romantic love. He wasn't even talking about the affection that we feel for our friends and our neighbors. He was talking about something more basic and far more demanding. The practice of acknowledging the God-endowed humanity of those outside our circle of concern. The humanity of those we are inclined to discount, and of those inclined to discount us. He is calling us to remember that those whom we fear, or who fear us, have a story to share, a history and a hoped-for future. We share a fierce love for our children, and a desire to lead meaningful lives. We all crave connection. We all have occasions when we are deeply afraid of death, of pain, of one another. How then do we begin to practice that kind of love? With curiosity and with prayer. Love your enemies and pray for those who harass you, Jesus said. Try this. Devote time and focus to holding your enemies in the light of Christ. Do that even now. Picture the people who have broken your heart, who have sent you into a rage or terrorized you. Whether they are people you know and can picture and name, or people you have never met. Imagine them as children, and then as parents, and then as grandparents. Wonder what brings them joy, and what provokes their fear. Wonder what they have longed for, and what losses they have suffered. Ask God to be with them in their grief, to mend the broken places, to lend them comfort and courage. And then ask the same for yourself. I don't expect that loving like this will suddenly wash away the conflicts. And sometimes we have to love from a distance to keep ourselves safe. Sometimes we have to love by proxy, handing over to God what feels unattainable to us. Sometimes we have to start by confronting the fact that we do not even know how to love ourselves. Still, we work on it. Why? Because it changes us. because it counters the corrosive effect of conflict on our spirit, like an antidote to poison. Because over time, being curious like that, practicing empathy, may just stretch open our hearts a little, make them a little more elastic, a little more able to discern in the most painful of relationships the potential for healing and reconciliation. Because God knows that love is, in fact, more powerful than its opposite. In the words of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. One cautionary note. We don't love like that because we're more likely to get what we want. That isn't love, it's manipulation. We do it because Jesus gave us this blueprint, said this is what it means to live in God's beloved community. God already loves like this, reigns and shines on everything she's created, the hurt and the hopeful, the broken and belligerent, the variously beautiful and awkward and angry. God loves us despite our sundry failings, loves us all the way through. And that, beloved in Christ, is our model. Just as your Father in heaven is complete in showing love for everyone, so also we must be complete. So we're not there yet, and that's okay. Still, the call is clear. By the grace of God, to summon all that we have, all our curiosity and creativity, to slowly, intentionally, persistently love one another into wholeness. May it be